This is Amika Cowder, and I'm here today with Sean O'Rourke. He is the lead visiting vehicle officer for Space Dragon. We are inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room. In this room is where the team's Orbit 2 team has been monitoring the systems aboard the space station. Meanwhile, there is a vehicle that is scheduled to launch tomorrow morning at 3:55 a.m. This is the SpaceX Dragon. And so, again, we're here to talk with Sean. Welcome, and thank you for joining us, Sean. Good. So first, let's just talk about your a little personal background. Just tell me, what is your background and education background, and how did you find your way here to NASA?
Well, I grew up in Cranston, Rhode Island, and I went to Clarkson University in upstate New York, Potsdam, New York. I came down here right out of college and hired on at United Space Alliance doing trajectory design, working the pre-flight analysis for Space Shuttle. And then I moved into the front room as a shuttle rendezvous officer. Worked a lot of the space station assembly flights and got to work Hubble repair missions, and I had a lot of fun doing that. And now that is over, I'm over in the visiting vehicle office. And our office are the trajectory experts for the space station in dealing with the visiting vehicles that come up and bring cargo and crew.
Okay, great. Well, we're happy to have you here. So first, tell me explain your role as a visiting vehicle officer. What does that mean?
So our group, we have expertise in guidance and navigation and trajectory, and our role is to talk to the partners that are sending the vehicles up to the space station, and we help them interface with the space station and let them know what the space station is going on. The two vehicles coming together, there's a lot of vehicle-to-vehicle coordination that has to go on there, so we help monitor that, make sure that all links up together really well. There's two different kinds. There's docking vehicles and there's grappling vehicles, and I'm in the grappling vehicle side, and so things like the HTV vehicle and now the two new COTS vehicles, they'll be grappled by the space station arm. So we also have to know a fair amount about the tools that the crew uses to monitor the vehicle as it approaches from below.
And is there more? Because you just talked about some of some of the vehicles are like the automatic ones that don't require, the crew's help in pulling with the grapple and that sort of thing. But also with this one, the SpaceX Dragon, this is going to be one that's going to require some robotics operations. So if you will just explain to me, I mean, is there more involvement if it's a grapple type?
Well, really, the bulk of our work, and really this is true for all of spaceflight, 99% of the work happens before launch. Making sure that the vehicle is built to the requirements, making sure that the plan that is on board the vehicle is going to execute these maneuvers autonomously with ground monitoring, and making sure that that all meets the safety requirements, and then making sure that we have the proper insight to verify that even though the plan may have been safe, that we need to make sure that we're watching the vehicle as it's happening to make sure it continues to be safe.
Sure. And so with this particular vehicle, what has your experience been? I mean, how long have you been working specifically for this particular vehicle?
I've been on this team for about 2 years or so, I've got to know a fair amount about how the vehicle works, which has been really interesting. Compared to the space shuttle, that these newer vehicles, they're much more autonomous. They have so much more computing power, and they can, encode a lot more automated decision making into the vehicle. So being able to learn how that all works has been really interesting.
Good. Well, I'm glad to know that you have some insight on the vehicle, because I do have some questions about it. If you will just explain to me, what is the significance of this vehicle as opposed to the other vehicles that have flown before and docked to the International Space Station? What is the significance of this one?
Sure. Well, in first of all, in a lot of respects, it's fairly similar to HTV, but it was kind of built. The Dragon team, I think, probably learned a lot, and we learned a lot from our experience with HTV that has gone into the planning for Dragon. So it approaches from below and is grappled by the arm, similar to HTV. The really neat thing about Dragon is, compared to other cargo vehicles anyway, Dragon is the first vehicle that actually bring things down to Earth from us. Most all the other cargo vehicles basically burn up on re-entry, so we can use it for trash disposal and stuff, but this is our first opportunity to be able to bring things home on a cargo vehicle.
Great. And so that's going to add some great capability, I'm sure, especially for hardware experiments and whatnot that we are ferrying to and from the International Space Station.
Right. The capability we lost with the space shuttle that we'll be anxious to get back.
And also, there is the commercial part of this vehicle. Can you talk about that?
Well, one of the things that's different about the whole commercial program is that we try and stay out of the details of how the problems are solved. We levy the requirements, and first are the safety requirements, and then it really delegate a lot of the responsibility to figuring out how to solve that to the commercial teams. And it'd be really, they have a different perspective, and they want to take this vehicle and use it to provide services to other customers as well. So they have to weigh our requirements against what other markets they see out there, which would be great, because if they can take this vehicle and make money other ways, then that should bring our costs down in the long run.
Okay, great. That's interesting. So, if you would also go through just the series of what's going to take place after it launches. So it launches, it's in orbit, and then what happens next?
Sure. Well, the SpaceX team has done a lot of verification work pre-launch. After they get on orbit, though, we also have some additional gates they have to go through, which are to demonstrate some basic capabilities before we'll agree to let it come to the space station. After launch, they'll be collecting some absolute navigation data using GPS, and the SpaceX team will take a look at that and make sure it's performing per the requirements, and they'll give us that data, and we'll take a look at it and make sure. So that'll be one of the first gates that we go through is after they get on orbit, just the basic vehicle's capability to figure out where it is and where it's going. Also some safety critical functions like the abort functionality. So they'll test that out where it's much further away from the space station and we don't have to rely on it, and so we can watch it in orbit, see how it really does perform per all the analysis, and we'll get comfortable with that before we let them come in. Another big one would be on the day before grapple. They will do a flyby below the space station, and a little more accurate navigation capability is for the space station to send GPS data out to the Dragon vehicle, and it will calculate a good solution that is much more accurate of the Dragon's position relative to the space station. And so we'll take a look at that data overnight before capture day and make sure that is all performing how we expect, and then we'll come in and let them come grapple on the next day.
Okay, great. And now you mentioned demo flight. So explain demo flight for me, if you will, and then also explain when does it become the vehicle that we approve and say that this is going to be the vehicle that's going to ferry cargo to and from the space station.
Sure. Well, SpaceX already has the next vehicle is being built at the SpaceX facilities. In fact, it may be completed. I can't remember the schedule. But so this flight is a demonstration flight where they're going to demonstrate their capability to get to the ISS. So we do have some cargo on board, but if something were to go wrong, it's stuff that we can live without for quite a while. Assuming everything goes well on this flight, if they get up to the space station and home again, the very next flight, which I believe is sometime mid to late summer, I forget the schedule, but that will be a real cargo flight that starts their CRS, Commercial Resupply Services contract. So this, assuming all goes well, this will be the one demonstration flight, and then we'll jump right into the commercial resupply.
Wow.
If something, this is a test flight, things are, it's very possible things can go wrong. If they don't get all the way to the space station, then we'll try again another time.
Sure. Well, they say spaceflight is a sport, so we have to be flexible with it, right?
Yeah.
So, and so you just answered my next question was going to be that, assuming the mission is a success, what's the next step? And that would be it right there that you mentioned. So, if you will, real quick, just give us the last update of the launch. It is again scheduled to take off from the Kennedy Space Center at 3:55 a.m. Central Time. And so, do you have anything new to share with us?
Actually, on the launch side, that's really the commercial partners field, and I know they had an internal flight readiness review yesterday, and they rolled out to the pad this morning, so it sounds like everything's on schedule. So we'll pick up tomorrow morning on console, and hopefully everything will go great.
Great. Thank you very much for coming out and talking with us. Again, the SpaceX Dragon is scheduled to launch tomorrow morning at 3:55 a.m. From the Kennedy Space Center. We will have live coverage for you here on NASA television at 2:30 a.m. Central Time, and also up next following our ISS update today at noon will be a pre-launch briefing, and so you can tune in here at NASA television for that information for SpaceX. Keep watching. Thanks.